Testing.
Oh, yes. There's just 3 lessons, and each is their half-time
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's now 4 p.m. and I'd like to call the CVSID monthly meeting to order. Thank you all for being here today. Let's all take a moment to stand, say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll have a brief moment of silence after that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. We need to establish a quorum. Michael, will you call the roll, please?
Steve Rorix, present. Michael Myers, present. Brent Hunstead,
Present.
Susan Jett,
Present.
Tony Stallsmith.
Present.
We have a quorum. Everyone is here and ready to participate. Next item on the agenda is the approval of today's agenda. Are there any additions, subtractions, or edits that need to be made to today's agenda before we start?
There is one under new business, the status of the Cherokee Village Park System. It should be CVSID Park System.
Okay, thank you very much.
Typo.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Al, we spelled your name wrong. Al. That's spelled wrong.
Any other additions or?
My apologies.
Stephen, did you have something you wanted to add to the agenda?
Yes, I would like for us to discuss purchasing a boat so that we can take better care of the small lakes. We don't have any kind of boat to get out on those lakes to do fertilizer or algae control or anything like that right now. So,
Okay, thank you. I'll put it on the very end of the new business column.
And then we need an executive session down under property owner comments.
You want to have it in that stated name right there?
Is that where?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, that'll work. Executive session right there.
We'll do it after the last property owner comments?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now that do we have a motion to approve the agenda today?
I'll make a motion that we approve it as corrected here.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Also, a second on the approved agenda.
I'll second that's correct.
Motion's been made by Susan Chet and seconded by Michael Myers to approve the adjusted agenda for today. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of previous meeting minutes and the March 16th 16th one is incorrect. We have, yeah, I just scratched that one off. That has already been approved, and that's taken care of. The next one is from March 18th, April 6th, and April 20th. And do you want to approve each one of these individually or just collectively?
I move that we accept the
Okay, motion's been made by Steve Rorich to accept all three of those meeting minutes as presented. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Susan Jett. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. And there are no ceremonial items or announcements at this time. We are at the point of our agenda for property owner comments. If anyone would like to come up to the microphone here, you have 3 minutes to speak on anything that pertains to the Suburban Improvement District. Do I have any takers today? Please state your name, address, and have fun.
Okay, I'm Mary Gorski. Real close. Okay, I'm Mary Gorski. I live at 218 East Lakeshore, and I have Lakeshore Drive, and I have been visiting Omaha Center a little more frequently than I have in the past, and I know it's something that's a little bit of a concern to me, and that is that we oftentimes have one person there by themselves, sometimes when it's winter, after dark, and we don't really have much security there. I think it would be smart to consider buying an inexpensive camera system to protect the safety of the people who work at Omaha on their own, and could be a little bit of risk. That's my comment.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anyone else would like to come up and address the audience today? Seeing as how there are no other takers, we will carry on with the agenda. We are at the point of the agenda where we're going to have committee reports. And the first one is the golf committee. Steve Munch, are you here to present that?
Steve's not here tonight, so I've got his.
Okay.
I'll just sit down. We met this past Wednesday. We discussed all business, guest writing, member cards, and walking rates, and we have a proposed change, which I guess I should bring up in new business. We also discussed the need for golf revenue while being competitive with nearby golf courses like Turkey Mountain, Cooper's Hawk. Here we have, let's say the first one, our proposed change, I'll go over that in new business because that would be a formal proposal. Also, we have a proposal there. We looked at the golf contract, the golf cart lease contract. We're still reviewing that to discuss at the next meeting to see how any of these proposed changes may affect paying for these leases as well. We talked just briefly about the possibility of increasing revenue, so maybe possibly self-service hot dog brought on cooker or microwave hamburgers. Something that we still just need to look around, talk about, and bring up. Also discuss with Jeff Klein before we decide to make any formal proposals for anything like that. New business, like we said, we're going to discuss the review the costs for the golf cart leases. Also looking to possible outside bidder sandwich machines and revenue share proposals. I have a list of stuff to discuss with Jeff Klein. These are physical problems with the golf course that we see that we can see what he's doing about it. And I'm in communication with him. We also looked at driving range bids that hold sand and sea from divots to repair or have a possible divot party for repairing some of the divots at the driving range especially. Possibly also looking to put pitches at the driving range or the putting green was discussed. We also discussed setting up member card stand to determine rate and keep track of the rounds played. And looking at to develop men and women's golf associations with all kinds of things that we could possibly include, such as women individual and team league, men's individual and team league, mixed leagues, 9-hole league, after work 9-hole leagues, weekly match play leagues, basketball tournaments, club championships, and Ryder Cups. Just anything like that, which kind of just started looking at it from long range to see if any people can get, would like to get involved with something like that. Our next meeting will be June 10th at 4 p.m. at the North Course. And everybody else who would like to come join us and see what we do and have any suggestions, so please feel free to come by and sit in with us and we can discuss on this.
I'm excited to hear the information about the leagues, trying to generate more excitement for property owners to get out there together and have some fun. In identifying some of the issues with the golf courses, how many issues are there and what's the severity? Are they several minor things or are they a couple of major things?
Some of the things are long-range items that they're looking at. Right away, there's a couple of trees here up north that we looked at that need to be taken, that we think need to be taken care of. And I'm going to get with Jeff on that. I think I've mentioned to him about it before, but just making sure that he's aware of it and that if he needs to take care of it, there's something about these. Other than that, a lot of these are more long-term ideas that could take a year or two before we kind of fix up. And we know we're limited to how much we can spend on some of these things. So,
It'll be nice to hear after you talk with Jeff Klein, what is viable for the near term and what is viable for mid-range and long term. Thank you for that, Tony.
And I don't want to split hairs, but since Stephen is our active general manager, should you talk to Stephen to have
Yeah.
Stephen talk to Jeff?
Probably so.
Okay.
That's fine. I haven't done it, Jeff, yet. So.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you for that. Good point.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions by any commissioners about the golf report? Okay. Don Rieger, Lakes Committee, do you have a report for us today? You got to get close.
Do I keep it right here?
My name's Don Baker. I'm with the Lake Committee. We don't have any set members, and we encourage people that live on all of the lakes that come to the meetings if you have any input or suggestions, complaints, because right now the only people that are showing up are friends from Omaha. So I really can't relate anything to the board about what's going on in other lakes because nobody's coming to meetings to tell us. So having said that,
Thanks, Jen. Good evening, everyone. It's now 6 p.m. We convened our executive session at 6 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. right now. Thank you for your patience. We discussed employee staffing in the office, and we've come to some agreements and conclusions that will benefit the Suburban Improvement District moving forward.
Make the motion.
So, would like to make a motion here that we hire 2 entry-level clerks to support the office staff as soon as possible. Do we have a second for this?
Second.
Okay, so the motion has been made by Brent Hunstad, seconded by Tony Stallsmith, and all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Unanimous, it carries. That is excellent. Thank you very much.
Make a motion to adjourn.
A motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. We thank you all for your attendance today and look forward to seeing you next month. Have a wonderful evening.
Well, punch cards are $20 to play. $15 plus $15 for your card. So that's $35. We could either lower the property owner's green fee to $20 as the punch card is, because that way you don't have to keep holding the punch card. They don't ever expire, at least right now, until we say so. So we're saying, what's the point of having a punch card? It means something you have to keep up with. Or we could do away with the punch card program and leave the green fee get a free card.
Oh,
Yeah, basically, we're trying to split that.
includes the car.
Yeah, the $45. If you get a card, it costs you $20 to play plus $15 for a card, which is $35. So you're saving $10 if you buy a punch card.
But if you buy a punch card, you're,
After I gave it,
You didn't buy a full membership of the card because the
I
card,
don't play that much.
well, the card suited you though, the punch card.
Well, what I'm saying is, if I'm not going to play that much anyway, why not just pay $20?
well, the advantage here is a person's paying for 5 rounds of golf, they're paying $100 in advance. That's a revenue driver for the organization, but
Still going to get it because they're still going to play. We have no expiration. I mean, I can, for a year now, the only reason why I buy a punch card is I know I'm going to play more than 5 times. And I'm definitely going to play more than 5 times the next year or two. Just something to think about.
okay, all right.
I'll discuss it more.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you could write this up, Tony. Write this up into a little breakdown for us. Yeah, that would be wonderful. I would really appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay. At this point of the agenda, it's time for commissioners' comments before we go into property owner comments. Any commissioners like to bring something forth of the property owners at this time?
One thing, I'd like to remind everybody tomorrow at 1 o'clock at the new courthouse in Salem, there will be the writ of mandamus hearing, and we'd like to have everybody out there to support us as much as possible.
Okay. Anybody else? I don't have any comments. Michael, Stephen. Last chance for property owners to have 3 minutes with the microphone. If you want to come on up, state your name and address, and tell us what's on your mind.
I'm Phyllis. I went to gas station.
Before you start talking,
Okay.
I'll pass it.
Okay.
Let's stay on that side because that's what was quick.
I'm Phyllis, president of the Omaha Health and Fitness Center. I live on Lake Omaha. So I'm passing out some brochures that one of our members made to tell for advertisement. And I've been trying to do things that improve the attendance, the experience of all of the members. So I have a letter I want to read, and it's not going to be as fun as the fun lady, but I try to keep it under 3 minutes. And it's about something that.
We're going to keep that so we hear your.
Hello?
Just like that.
Okay. I'm here representing the Omaha Health and Fitness Club. I would like to discuss a resolution I'd love for us to look at, the commissioners. It's all about making the club even better for our residents and doing it in a way that is smart, simple, and completely by the book. As you all know, folks in Cherokee Village love to stay healthy, active. Lately, we've had a ton of requests at the club for more specialized classes, like advanced pickleball clinics, fitness, Zumba, cardio drumming. People want to sharpen their skills and try new things, which is fantastic. To make this happen, we want to bring in great guest instructors, but these professionals operate independent businesses, and they need to be paid for their time, which brings us to a bit of logistical questions. How do we manage the money without causing a headache for Sid? Big question. The resolution I'm talking about resolves that. It officially allows the OHFC to host clinics, and it lets the participant pay the instructor directly. As an independent contractor. It's a common sense approach, and it aligns perfectly with the law. I was going to read it, but I won't now. State law ACA section 1492, 220, and 221 gives this board the full authority to set rules and policies for how their facilities are used and allows them to hire independent contractors. The resolution directly delineates the instructors that are independent contractors and not employees of SID or OHSC. By having clients pay the instructor directly, SID avoids processing external private revenue through a public tax exempt general accounting system, preserving clean auditing trails, which I've heard you guys talk about. By passing or thinking about this resolution, you're keeping everything completely transparent and official. Most importantly, this direct to the instructor setup protects the district. It clearly establishes that these teachers are independent contractors, not SID or OHSC employees. The district doesn't have to deal with extra payroll. Jan won't be bothered at all. We don't have private business money cluttering public books, and the audit trail stays completely clean. Honestly, I think it's a win-win. It doesn't cost SID a penny. It keeps the legal boundaries clear, and it gives our members access to excellent training right in our own backyard. So on behalf of the club, I respectfully support that. The driving force behind this request is the Cherokee Village property owner, Vicki Foster, a certified, fully insured pickleball instructor who provided a free clinic on Friday night at SID facility with over 30 people in attendance. It was free. And the second clinic is scheduled for Wednesday. So she is giving some free, she loves pickleball, wants to promote it. The interest in future classes is high. While currently our speakers are volunteers, we can't expect professionals to donate more than an occasional session. I feel this is an opportunity to enhance membership experience. Vicki does not expect or pretend to be a full-time.
I'm going to have to cut you off. I appreciate the presentation. If you could submit to the board a written proposal, let's talk about the number of people and all that stuff, and we can have that, and insurance and all that jazz. That would be greatly appreciated. I appreciate you bringing that to us.
I had another paragraph and I knew it was around the ring, I cracked it.
Well, then, thank you very much.
I'll get it to you.
Okay, we have time for 3 or 4 more public comments. Does anyone want to talk and grab the microphone? And don't stand right in front of the speaker. That would be wonderful.
Hi, Andy Lammers. I live on Tossie Drive.
What's your last name?
Lammers, Lamers. I live at 11 Tossie Drive. I was just looking at what used to be known as the bylaws, the draft version. And I'm looking for a rationale. Property owners, regardless of how many lots, are entitled to 1 vote, even though the wife and I don't always agree. But a corporation or a business is entitled to 2 votes. And I don't understand the rationale why a corporation or business would get more votes than the people that are living here. Granted, they probably maybe they pay a little more in taxes, but I'm just looking for an understanding of rationale.
That's not right. Ms. Draper can address that issue. She's our election volunteer.
Deanne Draper, Cherokee Road. That's incorrect. I don't know how you're reading it, but I ran the election, and each person in a property, there's a man and wife saying, each one of them got a vote. So that's 2. And then the corporation gets 2. It's each, the way it worked. Yeah, the way it actually works. Okay, each property owner, the man is a property owner, the wife is a property owner, and it's the same lot. But they got a vote each, so that's 2 votes for you. And that's the way it worked in the election. Because it's the same. I don't know. That's the way it was set up.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. We will discuss that with the attorney when it comes to the final draft of the bylaws. Appreciate the clarity, Dee. Thank you for the question, sir. Thank you. Any other questions or 3 minutes to discuss anything you like? All right. No, we're all done. We're all done with that. You get 1 3-minute section, I think.
Thank you very much. No problem.
Okay.
Did we get your question answered?
Yes, I asked if you could speak during the thing. You said no, so I answered.
But now you had something to say.
Yeah.
I'm good, you answered it.
Okay. Well, we're done with property owner comments, I think. And we mentioned earlier that we were going to have a short executive session, and we need to have a motion and a second and a full approval of the board to do so. So, who would like to make that motion?
I would make the motion that we move to executive session to talk about employment, to talk about employment. There's a word for it. That's it, okay, employment. Yeah.
Do we have a second for that?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Tony's got a second?
Steve said he did.
Okay, so Susan Jett has made a motion for us to go into executive session and talk about employment. And it's been quiet, please. Quiet, please. Thank you very much. And it's been seconded by Steve Rorks. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We'll be back as shortly and as quickly as we can. Excellent presentation with a lot of food for thought there. Next item on here was an addition to the agenda.
Yeah.
Steve Rorks to like to talk more about potential boat purchase for the smaller lakes.
Okay. Bill. Can you hear me now? Okay. I've been in touch with Jeff Klein, and this kind of goes along with our lakes that we just talked about, stocking and fertilizing and putting out chemicals to kill the weeds and the grass and the hydrants and all the stuff that's in the lakes.
I need you to speak up.
Okay.
A little closer.
It's coming through there.
There you go.
Anyway, our discussion has turned to that we do not own a boat that we can put a spray rig or something to spread the algicides in our smaller lakes. We can use, in the bigger lakes, we can use the pontoons that we have. We could. But we have nothing that we can move from lake to lake to lake and take care of these problems that we're talking about. And we have been discussing and been looking for a boat that we could do that with, which if we get the right boat, it could also be used by our lake safety people to monitor these smaller lakes. They could take it from lake to lake and monitor the smaller lakes. It wouldn't only have the function of what we're talking about here, but they could also use it to monitor these smaller lakes. In our looking, a boat that is big enough to hold the tank that it would take or the spreader that it would take is probably going to cost in the neighborhood of $10,000 to $15,000. That is, we thought we found one for $7,500 the other day, but it was a real good deal, and it sold in about 30 minutes, so we missed out on that. I guess what I'm asking the board is for permission to purchase that boat when we do find it, so we don't miss another bargain.
How's it fit with the budget?
We can get it in the budget. Speaking of the budget, there are some items at the at the maintenance sheds at the golf courses that need to be sold. We no longer use them. They're obsolete for us. I don't know how many dollars worth. I do know there's a bucket truck at this maintenance shed that we haven't used in years. A guy has come to Jeff and has offered $3,000 for this truck. I asked Jeff how much it was worth, and he said it's probably, if we wanted to fix it, would cost, so you can use it, would cost us about $8,000 to fix it. If it was usable, it would be worth probably $7,000 or $8,000. It would be my suggestion to go ahead and give him permission to sell that boat to those people.
There's going to be a
Go
process.
ahead.
There's going to be
Get your mic so we can hear you.
There's going to be a process that the newspaper is going to have to be announced. We're going to have to bid this process out. We're going to have to bid the process out. We're going to have to do it legally, unambiguously. Y'all can find a good deal, and I can say, sure, go for it and do that, but we are under the umbrella of doing stuff the right way, not the good old boy handshake and a nod, wink, wink anymore. So as much as I want to tell you, go for it. If you think, and you and Mr. Commits and Jan and them think that we can work it out, I'd say go for it, but we need to do the bid process. We need to do to sell the equipment. I went, when this came up from Jeff in casual conversation, I went and looked, and Tony can probably back it up. There's a whole set of rules and regulations before we start disposing of unused equipment, that we have to publish what we're doing, have a silent auction, or have something. We just can't do it the way we've been doing it.
That is the case for an SID.
Yeah.
It specifically says SID. I know that is the case in public schools and in city government. It is. But I didn't think that, because we bought that equipment.
We have to defer back to the code regulations on disposing of old equipment and the dollar amount where a bid process is required.
And we did have a sale several years ago. We had it at the, maybe it's Fort Darrell came, but at the North Maintenance Shed, we had an auction, a silent auction where you went around and wrote on a piece of paper, and we opened them all up to the people at the end of the bid period, and they were awarded. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy process, but it would be legal.
You're talking about the sale, not the buying of boat, right? The sale of equipment.
The buying of the boat too. And so, Stephen, we just can't go and buy a $10,000 boat without going through the bid process, local vendors, contract. We just can't do it anymore.
Okay.
I don't think. I mean, that'd be a Barrett Moore question, but I don't think we can.
That will change the price of that boat to about $20,000.
I understand, but we've got to, you know.
Okay, just trying to look back at what we're always doing. It does say we can sell direct sales on mowers, trucks, stuff like that. It says here that we can do that, but I think we need to investigate that first. Find out what are the legal responsibilities about unloading materials, old equipment, and then once we do, if you can do that, you can work that part on a different issue. But as far as buying a boat, find out all you can about the boat, price, all that good stuff, and then when you have a set price and a set boat that you're looking at, call a special meeting, have us come in real quick, approve or disapprove. You know, it should only take like 5 or 10 minute meeting just to come in.
How much can the general manager say we can pay for something? I know it is something.
I think we lowered it from 35 to 5. I don't have the code. I don't think I have the code.
I know it's not 35 because of when we bought the tractor, it had to be sent through the board line. No, it's not that high.
We have to approve that.
Yeah.
Yes, I know, that's what I just said, is I know it's not that high, that would have to be approved. And I was wondering what the number was for the amount that a general manager can spend without approval of the board.
I've got a bunch of numbers running around my head, and I don't want to spit one out because for fear it would be incorrect. And I've got the code of regulations. I'm sure they're not going to change much, and that amount is probably good. I can refer to the final revised edition and can let you know about that.
Even before that, the revised edition is not approved, so we would revert back to the ones that were in place.
All those haven't changed. I know that those parameters have not changed. There's only a few things that have changed from version to version, and the auction and the purchase.
I just know that we have a lot of stuff that needs to be done. It's time crucial because, as Tyler said a while ago, the fertilization, if you don't get it done in time or continue with it, then you're wasting your money pretty much. And I just want to make sure that we can get this stuff done in the time that we need to.
While we're in the process of unloading excess equipment and looking at the bid process, if that's what we have to do, we could consider borrowing or renting a boat perhaps for a short duration of time, for a week, while we do this algae control in the smaller lakes. Is that a possibility?
It is, and Jeff actually has a boat that we could lease from him to do that.
I think you should move forward with that idea until we can get through the legality. I mean, I would certainly, I'm not trying to slow this process down. I just don't want to get stuck in what we've been stuck in.
Yes, that's a good point, Susan. So if we can work out a lease, short-term lease thing with Jeff that's not cost prohibitive, I think that's a good thing. But we need to get situated to look for a good deal on a boat that will serve the purpose that we own.
Right. I would like at some point for us to get a dollar amount that we're willing to spend on a boat so that we don't miss a good deal. And give permission to whoever to spend that amount of money to get a boat where we can take care of the lakes.
Between you and Jan and Al working in your budget world here, let's talk realistically about where those funds can come from. And then we find out about the type of boat we want and the type of boat that's going to work. And then we can prepare for that future purchase. In the meantime, let's see if we can borrow checks.
Right. We know exactly what kind of boat, what size boat, what size motor, what it needs on it, and all that. We've discussed all this already. It was just, I wanted to get with you guys because it is going to be a pretty good purchase. But it's going to be a useful purpose for us.
I hate missing out on a great opportunity. I hate missing out on a sale. But we need to jump through the hoops properly so we can keep above board. Okay. Stephen, thank you for doing the research on that. Go ahead, Tony.
I'm just about to go. New business.
I couldn't hear you.
I've got the 2 golf proposals I told you about before. I just want to put the proposal out.
Okay. I think we're done talking about boats, so Tony, go ahead and share with us what you...
2 proposals. One, to consider to separate the cart fees from the green fees. Something for us to look at. I'm sorry, can you hear me? Separating the cart fees from the green fees. Cart rates are presently about $15 for an 18 hole, $10 for 9 holes. I think we need to meet again to, I guess the whole thing is driven by, especially if an owner has a visitor come and play, instead of paying the full $55 for a visitor because they get a cart with that, to try to eliminate the cart fee for that person since they're not going to be getting a cart. It's something to talk about, something we're proposing for us to look at. We want to get as much input on that as we can.
Let me comment on that. That used to be that way, and the board before us voted to put it all together under the recommendation of the general manager.
Like I said, we can discuss it and I just want to give you a month to think about that. The other one is to eliminate the 5-round punch cards, the punch card program, and this year we will still honor them, but at the end of the year two ways we can go with this. You can either get away with the punch cards, and then with just your property owners, you come up.
And this thing consistently puts out 10-pounders. And it's like that because they have a good stocking schedule and they take care of, what needs to be taken care of on their lakes. There are some things that with your lakes, there's a lot of things that are good for a fishery that aren't necessarily good for like a recreational thing. So, for instance, having a green tinge to your water, that's phytoplankton that are blooming in your water. And that is the basis for everything that happens in your lake, all right? The phytoplankton fuel the zooplankton fuel the smaller bait fish, feed the bigger bait fish. Just the big food chain we all learned about in 2nd, 3rd grade, right? Right now, the lakes are fairly clear out there. There's a phytoplankton bloom happening right now that I see that you expect this time of year. There's some extra nutrients coming in from the rainflow, the temperature's right, but that eventually goes away, right? And when that goes away, the bottom collapses out of your fish populations. One of the things that Jeff put in his report, and I actually talked to him this morning, we're on the same page with quite a bit of stuff, is his recommendation to stock threadfin shad into the lakes. From my perspective and from the perspective of a few other fisheries biologists in the area, it may be wiser to move to something a little bit more robust as far as the species goes. And that's why, just based on some of the other work we've done in the area, we might go with, we might suggest a golden shiner instead. So threadfin shad are a wonderful bait fish. They're very prolific. You put in a population and it typically explodes in the right conditions, right? But you have to have that phytoplankton I was talking about. You have to have that underlying, support structure for all of these fish in order for them to thrive. Since threadfin shad are primarily filter feeders, that's all they eat is the phytoplankton. If you have that clear water out there, you're not going to support a good population of those. It's just not going to happen. So you move to an alternative, not it is a bit of a lesser alternative as far as that, but it's more sustainable, all right? So if you move to a golden shiner, these are an omnivorous fish, right? There's some trade-offs to that, and I'll get to that later, but that being that if you have a lake that has less of the phytoplankton bloom, is a bit more clear, it will still support these fish. You will still have a prolific spawn every year, and that will put more protein into these fish's mouths, and your fish will get bigger. Anglers catch bigger fish, you explode all over Facebook, suddenly your tourism dollars go up. The problem with having threadfin shad is if you start missing your fertilization schedule or your budget for aquatic vegetation removal goes down, that means the nutrients in your lakes go down. And then you could have kill-offs, right? You could have less spawn some year because there's not as much nutrients available. We're on the northern end of Arkansas, and threadfin shad aren't as cold hardy as some of the other bait fish that we have available. And what happens is the water drops below. If we get another cold snap like we did in February of 2021, where things got down to -20 in places where it shouldn't have, that would be a huge threadfin shad kill-off for most of this area. All right? That does not happen with golden shiners. So you can sort of have your cake and eat it too with these. All right? The trade-off of that is they get much bigger. All right? So you have to make sure that you have a healthy population of adult largemouth bass to pick off the bigger ones. Because if there's not anything big enough to eat these, very large golden shiners, sometimes they get up to 11 or 12 inches, then they're spawning for the rest of their life until they die of old age, right? I have no concerns with that because I've seen the adult populations, of largemouth bass in your lakes, and if any of them do get to that size, there's not going to be very many of them because they're hungry bass. Like I said, I've seen relative weight pictures through dawn. These bass need something to eat, right? There is a lot of things that you can do to these lakes. Jeff put out this report. You've got the dredging that could be done. There's a lot of stuff for like dam structure that would need to be done later. But if you want to get some immediate results in how big your fish fish are, the quality of your fisheries, then bait fish may be a good place for y'all to decide to start. And if you have any questions at all, this board wants to call on me for anything, feel free to contact me anytime to discuss it. Actually, I want to go ahead and leave some time at the end, because I've been talking for a minute now, I'm pretty good at it, to take any questions that anybody might have if the board would allow that.
Well, does anybody have any questions right now? We might as well just address them real quick.
How invasive are they?
Invasive, they are native to this area. So golden shiners, actually, they are Arkansas farm-raised fish, is what we would be putting in. So their range goes all the way up to Michigan.
Okay, but they're not going to take over the whole lake?
No, not with the fish that you already have in place. Like if you were starting from the beginning, right, and you had nothing in your pond that was adult that would eat them, I would not recommend these fish. But you have the populations in place to keep these fish in check. Some people would say yes. Okay? Now, do they make good fish oil for like supplements? Absolutely. I'll say that. Yeah, so basically the silt, the sediment at the bottom of the lakes, it needs to be dredged out at some point, right? And this typically happens every 15 years or so, depending on, the amount of vegetation that comes in the lake. But what happens is you have all this organic material that dies year after year, and it settles to the bottom of the body of water, and it decomposes through bacterial processes and what have you, right? That traps a lot of nutrients at the bottom of your body of water. And what happens is, if you don't deal with it at some point, it gets to a tipping point, right? You have what's called a turnover when you go into the winter months, where the warm water at the top of your body of water and the cold water get to about the same temperature, and they start mixing. And what happens there is all of that water at the bottom that's cold and has all of this nutrient-rich and bacteria-rich sediment at the bottom starts flowing up to the top, and it kills the oxygen in your lake, your pond, your lake, what have you. And if you have too much of that happening, then you lose all oxygen. You lose all oxygen, you start losing a lot of fish, especially delicate fish like, say, shad, right? And bass are very, very susceptible to it as well. But that drawdown is probably one of the more pressing things that I've seen from the report, from just what Jeff Klein did. But there are a lot of constraints to getting that done, right? That's why a lot of times you only do it every 15 years, because it's so expensive to get it done a lot of times. What lake do you live on? Omaha. I think the figure I saw that Jeff came up with was there's about 14 to 16 inches of silt in some areas and some coves of those lakes, yeah. So if there's ever a drawdown, that's a perfect time to get some heavy equipment in there and start dredging it out and setting aside to haul off later. So that's any of that you can get out is 100% well money spent, as far as making sure that your investments across all of these lakes stay in place, because nobody wants to live in a lake that turns over, right? It's just sometimes you got to eat your vegetables. That's kind of how it is.
We have time for one more question, if there is one.
It would be better to get your dredging done anytime you can do it. All right, so that's really the important part. Okay, you can have an established fish population and still dredge it the correct way. A lot of times with a drawdown, you're not getting all of that sediment into the water with your fish, right? And a lot of lakes are built to do a 6 or 7 foot drawdown, where you can get all of that shoreline and just run around it and just pick it up, right? The problem is you have to have a lot of permission, a lot of cooperation from a lot of people to get it done, right? It is a gargantuan undertaking a lot of times. So it is expensive, yes. It is very expensive. The other thing that you can do to improve your lakes right now, and Dawn had touched on this earlier, is be more selective about your catch and release based on your scientific evidence that's coming in, right? So One thing that I saw and that he touched on that AGSC, when he contacted AGSC to talk to them about it is the 13-inch and under release. What that does is if you have a bunch of 13-inch and under fish, they're going to more readily eat the stuff that is right size for them. So the populations underneath, like, your smaller bluegill that are like 2 to 3 inches, 4 inches, that are perfect for these fish to eat, that's all they're eating. There's a bunch of little kids that need to be fed, right? So, honestly, if you had another couple of electrical shock surveys done, you could probably get a better idea of what sizes that you want to keep, right? And typically, you like for lakes that have an issue with a certain size of bass, that have too many of them, they implement what's called slot limit. So you'll have like, all right, we want to throw back all 8 and under, we want to throw back all 18 and over, right? And then this middle part, it's fair game. And that's where the eating sizes are too. Those are the best tasting bass. So
Great questions from everybody. Commissioner Myers has one more question for you.
Of all the fish species that property owners have asked me about, the one they ask me about the most is crappie. What are your ideas on that? Sequoia used to have a lot of crappie. I don't know if it does anymore, but
crappie are the hardest fish in this part of North America to balance in a fishery. Just because they spawn before everything else in your ponds and lakes, and some years there's a lot of different factors that go into this. They have a spawn that is just gargantuan, right? For every crappie, adult crappie that you have, you might get like 7, 8, 9,000 small crappie come out of it. And what that does is you have this imbalance that happens where they wipe out everything underneath them, as far as size, and they keep, there's nothing in the lakes to actually pick them up and eat them as well, right? There's just not enough.
One of that being is, it's possible people love crappie, right? It's going to be hard to balance it, and it's going to take a lot of your resources to make sure it's balanced. So dollar for dollar, you may want to pick a lake to try to establish a good crappie population, or maybe supplement a natural crappie population that's happening in one of your lakes. But at this time, I would not introduce a crappie population, at least a large one, into a lake that doesn't already have it, just because there's literally bigger fish to fry. All right. That's kind of what I'm
All right. Thank you very much for your informative report. We really appreciate you coming by. Thank you. Don Rieger, do you all have his contact information? Okay, great. And so does Stephen. I've actually.
Page for a long time. If you've noticed, it really hasn't been used since last fall sometime. Those are past employees who had the full access. We're never going to have this problem ever again, and there's going to be more than, it's going to need 2 keys to change it. We're working on getting that Facebook page back. It is ours. The good news is it was set up correctly. But Facebook, so we said, why don't we just make a new one and forget it? Can't do that. Facebook thinks that's spam and fraud. Because the SID page, when it was set up 4 or 5 years ago, it was set up correctly. So it's going to take us time to get it back through some legal ways and with Meta. It can be done. So all I'm saying is any post you see on that official SID Facebook page, which is Cherokee Village SID, so facebook.com/Cherokee Village SID or @Cherokee Village SID. That's the official page. There have been 2 or 3 posts recently in the past a couple of months. Please, that is not us. It looks to be a past employee who's not doing anything nefarious. They don't even know their post they're posting as their personal, but they didn't toggle, and they still have full access to the SID page. There is nothing we can do about it until we get it back. So next door. So we looked at, somebody suggested that. We had to jump through some hoops to do that, because again, it needs to be set correctly. And next door, which I was not too familiar with, on it, we set that up, and we had to give them documentation about that we are the official next door payment. So we just got that activated less than a week ago. I just sent out to all of you, you'll have admin privileges. Again, in case an employee leaves, we have a disgruntled commissioner who quits and deletes the whole thing, it's going to take two. So we're never going to have this problem ever again. But it's been a long, slow trot. But we're getting it. But so the Facebook page, you'll see current stuff on there. That's not us. We didn't put up a cat video. We're not going to waste our time doing something like that. Until we get it back, you may see a few more posts like that. But I'm thinking we're going to have full access to it in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
So I guess next door going to be the next best thing.
Right now it is, because we cannot do anything with Facebook. We will get that back, but
will this next door information be on the website? So they know how to
yes,
access it?
Yes, and because we just got it activated, Jane, I'm going to give you the information to send it blast out to you. And but it looks like it's already been, because once they give us the permission, which we did, and we put up, they even give you a sample post, and I just copied and made it, and it was put out there. It was sent out to a few thousand people, so it's active.
Thank you for that report. Now, the next item here that we need to discuss is Gitche Gumee Beach. Who is going to run with that one?
What's the item?
What's the what, Tony?
What is the issue with Gitche Gumee? What's the issue with Gitche Gumee?
The issue, I wanted to bring this up on Thunderbird Pool and the beach. I asked a few weeks ago, why is the beach open on Memorial Day? This is in northern Minnesota, right? And you've said that it's just the way it's always been done. Back when we had a three-member SID board, that's just the way they did it years ago. And we can do anything we want. Lots of people go to the beach, April, and whatnot. I think we need to discuss. Right now we're too close to Memorial Day anyway for the start, so forget it. But going in 2027, I'd like to discuss potentially changing the opening and the closing of the beach. The pool's a little bit of a different story, but people are going there anyway. Do we have to, Memorial Day?
Let me ask,
Yeah.
how hard would it be just to do set, depending on the year? Some years it stays colder longer.
Right.
Maybe some years it stays warmer longer. I don't know. I guess it really doesn't matter, man. Was it April 1st when we do the marina?
Marina's April 1st, yeah.
And we can, April 1st isn't a bad idea. Some people want us, some people still are getting into the lake at April 1st. Not I, but I don't have a problem going April 1st until October 1st. You want to swim in there? If it's cold, some people still like to swim.
Right. People have said, well,
It's not a big issue.
it has to do with the
Friday.
right.
We're opening.
Right. What I'm talking about is for next year.
Okay, next year. Let's wait till October, November.
So there's a gate across there right now, and we need to unlock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we just go ahead and unlock that one?
Well,
That.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that one has a test.
For what are we testing for now? We got it. I agree with you. Do we not not get a test at the end of last year that cleared us? I believe
I thought
we
we
did.
did it Labor Day.
Last
Like
year.
the weekend. Oh, he's already tested? Okay.
Okay. So if we do want to open up, we're going to get our test, we got to get our test done. So we test at the beginning of every year.
So for Gitchagui Beach, that has to be tested according to the state. How long after the mishap? Every year for 5 years? So that's why we're remaining closed, okay? That's,
No, we have to. All right, so basically, last year we had that test positive. And then before I know at the sometime
It was Labor Day. It was almost.
we had it tested again and got cleared to reopen again.
And we were
Then we
open.
were closing, so
We were open
we did get a
like
clear
before
test
Labor Day.
at the end of the year. So that doesn't count for this year's. Is that what he's saying? It's new. So because it's been low, he wants to check it again. When is he coming back with his test?
That's exactly the pool last
I guess as soon as it comes in, we need to know so we can either tell you.
and Thunderbird Pool is clear. We're good to go. Okay, thank
I
you.
mean, the same thing could go for Thunderbird Pool, because I know the outdoor pool at Down so we can.
We need to consider the cost of.
Right, the pool's a little bit of a different story, I understand. But all I'm saying is, let's open up, we're already at Memorial Day, I totally understand that. We're talking about for the future. We're running off some old ideas.
We just need to plan better for the future. We have to
I'd
talk
like to
about
discuss
staffing levels, when people are starting their part-time job. We have all that stuff we have to ramp up in the future. So it's already set for this year. We just need to, I don't think we need to belabor this anymore.
One of the goals of this new board, one of the goals of this new board, and we've talked about it before, is opening up amenities for the benefit of lots of property owners, not just a few, all the property owners. And the beach is one small idea that they're going there anyway. Let's improve that. I want to, just like the underutilized parks I'm talking about, you're going to hear me talk about that in June, July. We got a bunch of stuff to discuss now, but later this year, I'm really going to get into the underutilized parks.
So in June,
The beach
can
is
we
an-
talk about the beach?
Yeah. But what I want to do is make the amenities more available to all property owners.
Okay, that's a good
There's a whole
point.
bunch of stuff we can do that in the future.
All right. The next topic here is status of the CVS ID park system, and who is willing to have comments on that?
That's pretty much what I'm saying.
Oh, that's, okay. All right.
And one of the unveiling projects is going to be the picnic.
Absolutely.
We want y'all to come.
Okay, at this point of the agenda, Don Rieger's guest here is going to talk about lake stocking for a couple of minutes.
And we need to make sure he has this microphone.
Can you hear me on this one? Good evening, everybody.
I want to thank you all for having me. My name's Tyler Denton. I'm with Arkansas Pond Stockers. We've been stocking ponds and lakes across northeast Arkansas and 20 other states for about 30 years now. I've taken over the company, so probably 30 more at this point. But I want to thank Dawn, first off, for showing me around Cherokee Village. Y'all have a beautiful place. You know, I've been here since I was a kid, but I had no idea how far it stretched. And of course, thank you, Steve, for having me as well. And thank you, board. They wanted me to come here today and talk about the possibility of stocking fish in various lakes in Cherokee Village. There is a need for that, all right? Based on the electro surveys that were done by Jeff, I'm sorry, what was his last name? Jeff Klein, yes. in 2024, there was evidence that stocking bait fish would be the way to go to supplement fish in the lakes around Cherokee Village. Some of the lakes that were the most needy of it were Lake Omaha, just based on the relative weight of some of the bass that pulled out. You can see in some of the photos that I've been shown that typically when the bass, when their stomach is less big around than their mouth, you know that you pretty much have fish, right? There is relative weight that proves that this is the case. There are some other issues that would likely benefit more to be addressed than stocking. There are, some silt issues that Jeff has, of course, I'm sure talked about to all of you at some point, that may be cost prohibitive to get done. But as far as the investment into Cherokee Village of putting money towards your fisheries, the return on investment is usually like a 1 to 4, 1 to 6 ratio. If you spend $1, you want to get $4 back just because you're drawing more tourism money. Especially if you get that first 10-pounder caught out of one of your lakes, you're going to draw a lot of attention, right? That's something you can put on your website, on your Facebook, and the word gets around. You see what happens to places like Lake Austell and Wynn. They just had a few of the legacy lunkers from the AGST program pulled out of Lake Austell. And Wynn was on fire, let me tell you. As far as like restaurants, bait sales, hotels, people were coming from all around to go fish this tiny lake. I think it's like not even.
If y'all want to do it for everybody that gets hired from now to the end of the year, okay. Like Tony says, it's not going to be a lot of money. My big bone is it needs to be completely transparent.
Exactly.
And so it needs to show up on somebody's pay stub somewhere along the line so that when Al gets the report, it shows golf, donated boat stickers, donated health club stickers, not stickers, passes. It needs to say someplace. I mean, you know what we've been through trying to get this mess ready.
Yes. I'm going to go ahead and second this motion and move this along. We're going to take a roll call vote, and we'll be done with this.
What's the motion?
The motion by Susan.
The current employees for the rest till December 31st, seasonal and full-time.
If they come on board,
You need to amend it.
the rest of this year.
You need to amend the motion.
Okay, so
What
amend
about
that.
employee hired next month? You said current.
But I did say current, but it
She's
makes
going
more
to
sense.
amend this.
So to make, your motion would be to withdraw that, but your motion would be amended, that all employees, current employees and anybody
And new employees.
employed this calendar year, those stickers are part-time, full-time, doesn't matter.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so your original motion is rescinded.
The original motion is rescinded, and Tony just stated it real well.
So restating Susan's motion, that all new,
All employees, current and those that will be hired later this year, this calendar year, be given a boat sticker. That's until December 31st, or 2026.
thank you, Tony, we have a second.
And I'll second it.
There you go.
All right.
Motion has been made by Tony Stolzman, seconded by Susan Jett,
Yeah.
that all new part-time employees, seasonal employees coming up between now and the end of the year will have the benefit of a free boat sticker. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Now, Jane, while we're talking about this, do we need to talk about any
Motion
other-
carries.
Thank you, Bruce. Any other
It's
half-price
done.
stuff?
I'd love to say two more things, but move on.
No, because, yeah, we need to move on, because that is the main thing that we're struggling with.
But for 2027, we're going to have to look at this sometime, I'd say late summer, fall, because it's more complicated than you think.
It's a lot more complicated than it looks like, y'all.
Yeah, and I agree. We simplified the main big problem here, and I think that's important, so we can keep rolling right along. Okay, we're finished with old business unless I.
Rock's Marine contract? You said we'll
No, we scratched that off.
scrap it.
We scratched it off last month and it didn't fall off this month.
Yeah. Okay, and updating, reviewing, editing employee handbook, that is going to be part of the general manager's agenda and discretion when we come to that. Any old business before we move on to new business, folks? Okay, new business. At this point, I'm going to let Michael briefly discuss new email addresses for the commissioners. Michael?
Okay, everybody has their email address and their password and how to access it. So going forward, the official emails are on the website now. Tony's is, you can see it, it's tony.stallsmith@cbsid.org, susan.jet@cbsid.org, all the way down. We still have the Gmails. We're going to have to talk about that either today or next month. Are we going to phase them out? Are we going to continue with the commissioners' Gmails as well? One Gmail in particular that I believe we need to keep is the one that Jan uses, the info.cbsid@gmail.com. That's been used for years. It has tens of thousands of emails inbound and outbound, and we had to secure that last month, and we did. So it's safe and secure. There are plenty of other Gmails that I found that I didn't even know we had. One in particular that was going around, there was one Gmail, the cbsidgm@gmail.com. That got hacked a few months ago. And people have heard about that. We're going to stop using those. So the only official emails, non-domain cbsid.org email, the only one we're still going to continue to use, and we're going to talk about it and vote on it, is the info.cbsid@gmail.com. The other ones, I found a half a dozen other ones. Some we could never get into. Some of them, one in particular I found was cbsid1, the number one, @gmail.com. Somebody set that up less than 2 years ago. I have no idea who, when. There's no way to, in trying to recover. I've pretty much given up on it. But to keep a few Gmails around, that was a pretty good one. But it's gone. It's gone. So the general email address that you'll see on the website that is not in any of us commissioners is info@cbsid.org. That's all over the website. That's the main general mailbox. No. Info@cbsid.org. I'm going to give you the login for that. What I was saying, Jane, is we're not going to get rid of your Gmail, or that's my recommendation. We'll have to discuss it. But yours, the info.cbsid@gmail.com, I'm recommending we keep those. One more thing, there was a bunch of added emails that were never, they were added, they were never activated, like administration@cbsid.org, bills, golf pro shop, maintenance supervisor, office manager. I think I would say less is best, and I don't think we need them. I think anybody, my opinion, send them to the info, and the monitoring the info, then you can disseminate to where it needs to go.
2 comments on that. I agree that we need to have the new, but we need to keep the old, because there are hundreds of people who have done business with the Cherokee Village Suburban Improvement District that may not be looking at our website, and they need to reach out to us, vendors, contractors that need to reach out to us for business, for whatever. And I think that we will proactively use and promote our new cbsid.org emails, but I think we need to keep a couple of them open for a while, to like through the end of the year, until we can phase them out, the Gmails entirely.
What I'd like to do, in fairness to transparency and everything else, what I'd like to do is put on the website the active emails and the 2 or 3 Gmails that we do not use, we're not going to use. If you receive an email from CVSID, GM, and the one that's got hacked, that is not us. Do not, so we need to come up with something like that. And I'll make a new page on that shows all the valid ones and all the ones that are not, that we don't want. We take, if you get an email from so-and-so, anybody can make up a CVSID, whatever, a Gmail. So if you all agree, I will make a page of just the valid emails. And, oh, by the way, here's a few we know are not us. Stuff like that.
Question. So, how do we access, is only go through a web browser the only way to access that?
That is your URL for a web browser.
So we have to go through a browser to get to our emails.
But you can download the iOS app.
Oh, there's an app.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if like I did, I like all we still have the Gmail. And Myers.
Do you all have Gmail accounts from when we get on? Okay.
Yeah, we all do.
You close those down by yourself.
Yeah, you can, or do we need to talk about it at a later date to shut them down? We have a lot of emails in there already. That's something I think we can discuss next month, for example.
What the Gmail accounts right now with your names on it are basically personal accounts. You can delete all you want. Yeah. What you're talking about is the whole GM
and a half a dozen other names. And there's a half a dozen others I found too as well. But anyway, these are the official email addresses for all this. All the other stuff is not, and we'll phase them away and we'll put that on the website so you know.
Might as well keep rolling on the website.
As the website, but we're going to make a motion on the email addresses. Are we going to let's just do a vote on? We want to activate some of these email addresses.
Do we need to take a motion for that? We're just going to.
I don't think so.
That's all.
I don't think
We don't need a motion.
We're just changing
We're
that.
changing it.
We should probably, I'm sorry.
We're just changing the way that we're doing it.
And in our signature lines, we can put, please, going forward, use this and use the cbsid.org email.
Agreed.
I mean, but that just, okay.
If you can, okay, here we got it back. But I will put that on the website, the official email addresses, and that'll come in the next week or two. As to the website, everybody knows the new website, cbsid.org. It's pretty much complete. Obviously, on the transparency of all the agendas, meeting minutes, the videos, it's not 100% perfect. I'm going to try to go back as far as I can. In past years, if you look, you'll see there's some gaps in 2018 and 19, whatever the case is. We'll find those and we'll get them out there. It's old. If you really need a copy of the meeting minutes of the February meeting in 2017, you can go to the office and get it. We will have that up on the website eventually, but it's important, but it's definitely not urgent. Some of the other stuff, we need all the current stuff. That's all on there for the most part.
So the major framework is built.
The major framework is
continue to build on
done.
that and improve it as time goes by.
A good website is a living, breathing document. It's always going to change. It's always going to change. Next is the Facebook status. we've been dealing with the official, never been a set policy. I kind of think we need to, but we're almost halfway through the year of 2026, so we'll have to figure out the rest of this year.
It hasn't been that many employees who even wanted anything, so it's not a whole lot of money for freebies that have been handed out.
But I agree for 2027, we have time to discuss it, but we need to come up, I believe, with a set policy. I'm not going for it.
So for 2026, the rest of this year, till December 31st, keep the boat stickers if they present everything, keep it for free for the employees.
Whether they're part-time or full-time. Okay. Well, commissioners, I think it's one of those things that we need to entertain a motion, have a vote on. So
This is for 2026 only.
for the remainder of this year. But however someone words the motion is how we'll decide.
Okay, we've already started it, so I'll make a motion that we continue with the current employees. Get a boat sticker if they present the required paperwork for free until December 31st.
May I ask a question? So if one of our employees is getting a boat sticker or a swim pass, is that added at the end of the year as a bonus, or is this money that we need to be in compliance with? That's just what I'm wondering. So we have to track of who we gave what to.
That sounds like a state of Arkansas employment question. But yeah, since the commissioners were going to get a 1099, if we got perks, then
But is that necessarily a 1099 for the employees, or is that just on their end of year
bonus.
bonus?
Is that considered income, is what you're?
Yeah, exactly. And it's considered income, maybe some don't want it that way, so we're gonna present it as a perk, a $50 boat sticker or $35 boat sticker, boat, whatever. Do I present it to employees who are coming in to say, this $35 that you're receiving as a perk will be added on your income tax? I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there.
That sounds like a payroll question. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds like a change payroll.
Tony's trying to access accounting kind of thing, but that's a very reasonable question.
Well, it sounds, the expense is not that great. There's not that many employees taking advantage of it. I don't think it's going to destroy the budget.
No, but I just want to make sure that the employees know if they got this, what to expect, if there's anything to expect from.
Okay. And if it ends up raising their adjusted gross income $85, 50 and 35, it's not going to matter.
No, but it'll be bookkeeping for transparency so that everybody sees that we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, we need to have that policy,
Yeah.
another part of the employee guidelines, and part of our employee policy.
And following that along, anytime we give a discount, we need to make sure that on our statement someplace, we gave away this as employee discounts, that we have an accounting of it. Next year, we have to run these zillion pages of vendors and contracts that we know who we gave a discount to. I mean, somebody might not ask us, but somebody might ask us.
Good record keeping is the order of the day.
This is what I found. Employees in improvement districts of Arkansas must claim perks as taxable income unless the benefits are specifically excluded by the tax code. Some of these may include personal use of district vehicles, free or discounted services, or membership in activities, country club memberships, gym access, tickets to events, such, or cash allowances.
So what was the synopsis with that?
Basically, if we give them a perk, they have to claim it as a taxable income.
Taxable income?
Yeah.
So is that also the fellows who take the trucks home?
What is this?
What is that?
Continuing to or from
excellent point. Thank you, Jan. We need to flesh that out when it comes to the employee guidelines and the payroll aspect of that. And we will research that again, but we have a motion on the floor, don't we?
Yes.
A motion by Susan. Please restate your motion.
To continue with giving stickers for free till December 31st, both stickers. And we need to make sure that we tell everybody that if you accept this, it'll be part of your taxable income. So yes, I'll make the motion to continue giving stickers to people till
For this year.
December 31st.
Okay. Do we have a second?
65. I mean, it's not going to make any difference to anybody really, but the point is being transparent.
I really think we need to look into this more because there are some gray areas with Arkansas tax, federal. We haven't discussed this enough.
We haven't, but we've started it.
I know we did.
We've started it, and we can't stop it in the middle because that's
No,
not.
I agree with that, but these are small dollar amounts, so I think the employees are going to be okay, but they may get hit with just look at here, off, for example.
Well, we don't.
Yeah, I know that, but and then I looked at pools and boat stickers, and it depends on the dollar amount, but it's something we're going to have to discuss
Well,
in detail.
we need to discuss it, but I believe we also need to make it a record that we are keeping track of who we give what to, so that Al and the budget committee know where that lost revenue is.
Absolutely. I don't think it's going to be a huge dollar amount for the employees, but they'll need to be aware of it.
Was one, to continue on with what we had been doing, because you can't cut it off midstream. Number two is when I get hit with a FOIA of, oh, so this person got a free sticker or this, how many, blah, blah, blah. It's all we're talking about right now.
Oh, no, I totally agree with that.
So do they pay taxes on the sticker tonight?
So we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second, or is this going to die on the vine? This is just limited to boat stickers and kayak stickers for our employees till the end of the year. And then we will tighten up this entire thing.
It's not the cause of saying, they don't get discounts on anything else. Or they can depend on the health programs.
It's not a lot of people we're talking about. It's a small dollar amount.
Well, the health club
Most of
members-
those. Yeah.
Yeah, we need a second. But I think that Jen will say that the health club, the health club is prorated every month, and so that's going to change, right? $15 a month, isn't it?
Yeah, but regardless, if it's 120 starting in January and an employee who wants to join, it's 50% off.
It should be easy to figure out. It should be easy to figure out.
Are we allowed to ask questions? I'm sorry, I'm new.
No, unfortunately, we're not.
But write it down, because we'll have property owner questions.
Yes. The reason we're leaning on Jan here is because our office person, she deals directly with this, and we need her opinion on some of these things. So, property comments at the end, we'll be happy to listen to those.
If you're going to make people pay for it now, then I need to go back to people like issue stickers to, et cetera, and say,
We have 40 employees usually on the payroll about.
How many have gotten stickers so far?
boat stickers, 8. And then this week is coming in 4.
So if every employee bought a boat sticker, it'd be 40 employees, if everybody. So, and we can't stop it in the middle of the season.
And I'm agreeing with you, Susan, but unless we can get a second and have a vote, this motion's going to die and nothing's going to get accomplished. Time's wasted.
So y'all are gonna second it? To even keep keep giving the discount?
We've been doing this for 5 months now.
For just,
right?
and the general
So-
manager has always done it at her discretion.
And what's happened in previous years, the previous boards didn't discuss it? So it's never been a big issue.
Nobody ever said, oh, by the way, here's your bonus here, but it'll still be income at the end of the year. So now, all I have to do is say, yes, you don't have to pay for the sticker now, but it will be added as $50.
No,
That,
they would just have to
add.
add it when they file their taxes. Because until it reaches an amount of, I think it's $600.
$600.
You don't get a 1099. So if it's under that, then they have to, it's upon them to claim it on their taxes.
What I'm trying to get at is we use paychecks. Is there nothing at the end of the year that says what their benefits were? So that they know that there's an extra, just one.
65.
People that, I was saying, the motion you made, did you say for current employees, which that would exclude anybody who is hired on from this day forward?
Correct. That's what I think.
But is that going to be fair and consistent? You know, if somebody comes on in the middle of the year like this,
Well, they are coming out of the middle of the year because they're seasonal employees.
that's,
What now is proposed?
What do they pay for just a day? If they're going to go to the health club just for the day, what we charge them?
As a property owner, if they're a property owner,
Right.
they don't have to be, it's $2, I'm sorry, it's $3, and then if they're not a property owner, it's $5.
So what do employees pay if they go to?
Aren't we just, excuse me, but aren't we just talking about boat stickers, period?
Or we're talking about health club too? We're just talking about boat stickers?
That was the motion that Susan made, was strictly boat stickers.
did you mention kayak stickers in there?
I didn't, but.
Okay. I just, for the sake of
There's
clarity.
a piece of paper for motorized vehicles that go on the water, and there's a piece of paper for non-motorized kayaks, canoes, paddleboats. So, and those are $15 a piece.
So,
We need to,
sense.
no, that just budget.
Okay. We have one more new committee here,
Mary Gorski's going to make a report.
and Mary Gorski is going to talk about the new committee, and I won't steal her thunder.
Okay. Bear with me, I'm gonna read from the script, that's okay. I am here today representing the newly formed Fun Committee. Let me spell that, F-U-N, not F-U-N-D. Our purpose is to support good-spirited fun for property owners in any way we can. And today we're going to propose a specific event that I'm going to go into in a moment, but we want you to know that donations and sponsors will be sought for funding events like this and for future events down the road. Okay? So with that in mind, bear with me a second. Open up your script here. Pardon me, folks. It just went away. Here we go. So we want to bring a positive view to our community, especially with all of the negative publicity floating around right now. And I think we can all agree that social media has become kind of a hotbed of negativity regarding our community. The idea is to plan a fun-filled day focusing on community togetherness, family values, and showcasing our lesser-known amenities and parks. Games, water fun, food, and just good fellowship amongst neighbors will be the item of the day. We will rely on donations and sponsors. Food will be simple picnic foods such as grilled hot dogs, chips, and waters and juices, and possibly a snow pose. We're working on that. giant Jenga and knockoff, cup toss, and some music and things like that. We are going to be relying on volunteers to operate this. So, of course, if anybody would like to volunteer, come see me or Angela, and we'd be happy to recruit you. The projected attendance is about 50 people. There's a lot of stuff going on that day, so we don't expect every property owner to show up. And we factored in about 2 hot dogs per person. We're accepting donations and sponsors, and we have already had a solid pledge via an individual to basically fund the whole thing. We're continuing to look for additional pledges and donations. We've got a sponsor, a local business sponsor, and we've had Casey's has donated water already. So with the benefit of the volunteers, on-site grills, as well as any supplies donated or borrowed, this could be a wonderful way to show our pride in our community, as well as family values. We look forward to having a fun day, and we hope you'll join us in making it an event to remember.
And the date for that, Mary? June 6th at what time?
Saturday, June 6th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Great, thank you.
That's a motion that we want to put forward to the commissioners to approve that activity.
I move that we approve that outing.
Somebody second it, please.
I will second it.
Motion has been made by Steve Morris and seconded by Michael Myers to approve the fund committee, and the exciting events will start for the rest of the summer on June 6th at 11 a.m. Well,
Just to be by the book, we're
okay. Yeah, so we have a motion that's been seconded, and all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? We can get it, it's unanimous. Okay, great, thank you,
11
Mary.
a.m. to 3, you said?
11 to 3. Fun. Yay.
Great. Okay. Next on the agenda is moving into old business that is yet to be taken care of. And I will bring us up to date on the status for search of a new general manager. We have all been working really hard in reaching out to a lot of resources to look for a new GM. And we have had tremendous success with ZipRecruiter. And we have cast a wide net around the South. And we have gone through 100 and how many? 108 applications. Many of them were not even nearly qualified to do this, but out of the many we've gotten, I was able to conduct about 12 in-depth initial interviews, and we've narrowed it down to 4 quality candidates. So we have 4 new individuals to choose from, and we will be discussing that in executive session at a future time. But we are very, very close to being able to have a second final interview and being able to make an offer. And our goal is to have somebody in place by the middle of June, which will be a great benefit to the community to have that leadership in place. So that is all I have to say about that. Commissioners, any questions on that?
No, sir, thank you.
Yeah, okay. The next thing is reviewing the status of manpower needs and staffing levels for the general manager, office manager, clerks, and the tax clerk. That is something that we are going to go into executive session about this afternoon at the end of the meeting and work on the details of that. And then when we come out of executive session, we will bring more clarity about what that organization structure is going to mean for all of us and guiding us forward for the rest of this year and into the future. Next item on old business is the bylaws code of regulations review. It is in the hands of our newest attorney right now. He tried to get it reviewed prior to today's meeting, and he had too much on his plate, and I'm looking forward to the June meeting to have that fully reviewed by Mr. Barrett Moore from Blair and Stroud. He will give his comments, edits, and suggestions for us to peruse and approve. It looks really good at this point. We're just, everybody that's on the website, we have a chance to review it, and it's out there, it's been out there. So that will be continued. Hopefully we'll be able to ratify that next month.
Can I say something about
Absolutely.
the bylaws? to go to the website, look at those bylaws, read through those bylaws, make sure they are something that you can live with. Because you are Cherokee Village SID. We are only the commission. We can give you that right now. Hang on just a second.
But that is a good idea. We might as well. It's cvsid.org, but put it in on the agenda. Why not?
That way, if anybody new shows up, it's there. I don't have to stop.
No, that's a good idea. Also, we have to stop calling them bylaws. They are code of regulations now, and so when you go to the website under the transparency tab, it's going to read code of regulations. Formally known.
Yes. Thank you, Stephen, for making that. We want everybody, every property owner to be comfortable with the bylaws and have a good understanding about how that affects the community. The Rock Spring contract, we scratched that off there. That's no longer applicable. And updating, reviewing, editing the employee handbook is a discussion we started. But at this juncture right here, I'm just speaking that it would be in the best interest to have our new general manager spearhead that idea in conjunction with the office staff. Commissioners, I appreciate your input on this. We've talked about it a little bit, but it's not too complicated, but I think it'd be a nice project for the new GM to handle. What are your thoughts?
I don't think we need to discuss it right now. I think it needs to be at a later date.
Thank you. Any other comments?
The only thing that is the seasonal part-time amenities discount for part-time, seasonal, non-permanent. There's bound to be a better word for that. Like, what discount do they get for amenities? In the past, we've always done half price. It's come up this year, and we haven't had any discussion about it, but we need to make a decision about these summertime employees.
And the benefit for full-time employees is?
It was at the discretion of
Okay. So that's at the discretion. And is the past procedure been a 50% discount for part-time employees? So
that was going to help otherwise it's really at their discretion.
okay, all right. So that leaves
Has it
us.
changed every year? It's not set in stone. It needs to be. Right?
How it has been is employees who get a bump sticker or Bruce Golf was at 50%, Alcoa 50%, I-Ag stickers. You need to speak up.
So there has been a routine, and we just need to solidify that. And Susan, you brought up that we should make a decision on that sooner than later. Is that your feeling?
Because the swimming pool, if we have an update on the swimming pool is due to open later this week.
Okay.
Also, they're asking for boat stickers as employees. But I will preface this because I don't want to get anybody in trouble, including myself. Since this has taken place before, that people were, as employees, were given a boat sticker. And boat stickers did come in January. This year, people have
appreciate you bringing that forward to us. I was unaware of that situation. So I appreciate consistency and even-handedness in this. And it's my opinion that it would be okay to carry on until there's a new annual. We need to.
We'll have to vote on that. We'll have to discuss. But your idea for 2027.
Everybody's welcome.
Will that be at 4 p.m. also?
Yes, I'm sorry, to be on the same date as the other end of the year. What we discussed basically was we only had two new things of new business, and they were kind of a carryover. One of them was the residents in Omaha expressed concern about some holes that are in the spillway area on Omaha that lead to the overflow. Susan was kind enough to come in and bring us some of the studies that have been done in 23 and 24. They were recommendations by, I believe, the engineer that did it. And he said, the way it is right now, these holes, we really don't know if they are sinkholes or if it's just working traction, but there's obviously some issues there. So two of the members took it upon themselves. Tanya Dixon, she's got access to ground penetrating radar. They can look and see, is there a void under it? That would be a cost, but it's something that she's researching that. And Craig McCroy is looking into getting some quotes on the repair. And he's gone down to take photos, and he's got an engineer that he's talked to. So that's in the process. Having said that, I've taken upon myself because of the fisheries. I'm a fisherman, obviously. I've been going over, I live on Omaha, so I go to the marina and I talk to fishermen as they come in. And what I found is this group of guys, I don't know, maybe 6, 8 guys that I talked to, and over this spring they caught 350 to 400 bass, 800 crop fishing, and they were just bass. And they said 90 to 95% of what they're catching were under 13 inches and real skinny. Well, that's because there's a lack of forage fish. I contacted Arkansas Game and Fish, talked to 2 different biologists, and they concurred that the lack of forage in the lake is why the fish are so thin. They're competing with each other. And they recommended changing the rule that is posted at the lake that says all fish under 13 inches must be released. They said that's actually counterproductive because the problem fish you're putting back in. So this gentleman here from Tyler Denton from Arkansas Livestock will speak to you later about that. Let's see. Another issue that was brought up is access to Aztec and Chinook. But the driveways, ramps, whatever you want to call it, are so small, so narrow, that basically when a vehicle gets there, somebody goes down to a swim, nobody else will get on the lake. There's a possibility maybe just make those lakes as kayak access, kayak lakes, because they are small, they wouldn't have to worry about it. There's no weight lakes, would be a possibility. It's just an idea to give those lakes some more. The kayak is the place to go. And as we talked about before, the access is so limited that SID owns the property next to the ramps. Maybe bulldoze some of that, put some additional parking. Because anybody that's driven by access or Aztec Canoe, you see where the vehicles are parked, they're right next to the highway. And that's a hazard for everybody. So those are just ideas that we put out. That's pretty much I had. Lake Cherokee, we really had to brought up, but Jeff Pine started taking care of that. And that's it. We don't have anything new. Our next meeting is next month.
June 10th.
Thank you. At 4 o'clock, I'll be here. Please, anybody that has a concern about the lake, if you're interested, or if you just want to come in and listen, please come down.
Now, Don, before you part company, you said you have a guest here. He's not on the agenda, so.
He's lake stopping.
Okay, right there. Perfect. Okay.
I didn't want to get into anything that he's going to talk about.
Okay. Thanks, Don. Appreciate the great report.
And yes, please, we do need people from other lakes. The only people that have showed up are Omaha last month. I was here for Sequoia, and there was one guy from Thunderbird, but I've invited a few people from Cherokee. We'll see about them. But every lake is important. We need people on the lake committee. Somebody representing your lake. It's an hour. Come out and give us your ideas, please.
Thank you for that invite, Michael. Any other comments on Don's report from the commissioners? Okay.
We do need to add the Lake Navajo, the ramp, trash cans, and I think Daryl's already taken trash cans out to Lake Navajo. And somebody was talking about some benches, so we need to look at the benches that are at Lake Navajo, and that, I'm sorry that didn't make it in. I talked to somebody about it. Well, somebody said that some of the slats need to be replaced. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I didn't go look.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up, Susan. Thank you, Daryl. Al Metz, you want to come brief us on the latest budget committee report? Thank you, sir.
I speak loud enough, can you hear me? Okay, I'm Al Metz. I'm representing the budget committee, or the evil committee, as people might see. As far as the budget goes, we're pretty much on target for this year and everything. We're looking into 2027, but basically this year was a hard one to put together because everything was put together after the fact. But 2027, now we've got the figures together, and it's going to be a lot easier to put 2027 together. If you notice, there is on the webpage now, you've got a financial statement on there. We're in the process of looking to revise that financial statement right now. Because if you call that website up right now, it's line items totals by each line item. What we're talking about is breaking it down by the departments, like the North Pro Shop, the North Maintenance, South Pro Shop, South Maintenance, Lake Thunderbird, Lake Omaha, the Lakes Department, Building Maintenance, and breaking it down, showing you income and expenses on a monthly basis by each department. And also, if you want to look at the profit and loss, which is simple to look at, you just look at the income minus the expenditures. Like I said, right now, April was a fairly decent month. You can get assessments. Assessments come in good in April and May, and then usually in November and December when the assessments hit. So right now, if you take a look at it, if you looked at it back in March, you would have thought we were in really bad shape because we were like around 70,000 red. But now we got a good assessment rate in April, which takes us now about almost 200,000 black now. And when I look for the same amount of assessments again in May. Unfortunately, June, July, August, September, you would think we'd have good revenue with the golf courses and everything, with all that goes. Believe it or not only the revenue goes up, so does expenses. So we're watching that. What I'm looking at from everybody is take a look at those budgets and stuff, and if you guys got any ideas or any concerns, please get in touch with me or Jan Madsen or Steve Rourke. We'll bring it to our budget committee and take a look at it. I mean, there's people looking at, there's other projects that's going to be coming up during the course of the year and everything, and if they need money to put the project together, they need to address us so we can rearrange it and everything. We got money there, we can rearrange it. If there's any questions or any concerns or want to know where we stand at and everything, feel free to get in touch with me after the meeting or whenever.
Al, I appreciate the report, and I also think it's a great idea that for the sake of openness, honesty, and integrity, and what we're trying to do as a commission is to have all that detailed information broken down. If it's easy and practical for us to do, I'd like us to pursue that. I think that's a good idea. Thank you very much. Any comments from the other commissioners?
I appreciate you. We have been discussing, some of us have been discussing, changing our meeting date. to a little later on, because when we get our reports in, when we had our last meeting, all we had was the first week or so in April. We didn't have enough information to really see where we were. And if we would put that date down, Jan, when do we get that report for the month? It's 20th-ish?
Yes.
Okay. And I would have to, or we would have to look more closely at when we need to meet so we would have that information so that we could do a better job with our budget if we could move our meeting to a little bit later in the month.
I don't see an issue with that. I think it's, you make a date for that that makes the most sense for what you were trying to accomplish. So if you wanted to choose a different date, as long as the budget committee keeps track of that, that sounds like a fine idea.
Well, okay, and we still, whatever day y'all decide, Al and y'all, we need to make sure that we get it to Jan to get the email out and get it to Michael to get on, because it's a public meeting like everything else. So we need to make sure that we drop them all like I did last month.
So are we thinking the last Monday of each month?
Well,
It does make sense. You're using, you'll be using the most current data. Your last meeting, you were using March's. Right?
so, but like in June, the last Monday of the month is the 29th, or that's 4th of July weekend, well, it's the weekend before, or, so y'all just need to pick. The 22nd is the Monday before, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th Monday is the 22nd of June, and the 5th Monday is the 29th of June.
But she said that the reports won't come in until the 24th.
So y'all need to do it like on the 29th?
Yes, I think that last Monday, if that suits.
I see a lot of head nodding going on. No, that's a good idea. Great, that sounds like a good plan.
That's okay with everyone.
So Tony just looked at the calendar, and the last Monday is always after the 24th. So
Whether it be the 4th or 5th Monday, but maybe the 4th Monday is after the 24th as well. Use the last Monday, whether it's the 4th or the 5th Monday.
okay.
It's easier to remember if you just say the last Monday of the month. Okay.
In August, that is, because the 24th is the line also. The 31st would be on the ninth. The last Monday of
Okay.
each month, the budget committee will meet.
So in June, that's the 29th.
It's what?
So in June, that is the 29th.
That is the 29th.
At 4 p.m. here?